Hello there. Welcome back yet again to another, I should call it an episode in this long series of talk about the Canadian Express Entry 2024, your ultimate guide. It's a long one, but I believe it's worth the while because it's going to be an explicit breakdown of the Canadian Express Entry pathway to Canada that will give you every detail, every information you are going to need to prepare yourself for the 2024 Express Entry and moving forward. Okay, so welcome back yet again and join us as we continue in this series. Let's go there. How you submit your profile? Because the first thing you have to create a profile, the Express Entry profile, then you submit your profile. If you are eligible, okay, you are placed in the pool with others. I've already explained how this eligibility issue is handled. They will assess you based on 6 selection factors. Aside the minimum requirements of your work experience, your language, and education, they will assess you on other 6 selection factors and they will rate you over 100. Now, minimum to um, pass is 67. So let's say Mr. Joe was assessed and he had above 67 points. He'll be moved into the pool with other candidates. IRCC will do their draw, and those that are highly ranked, if the cutoff mark is, let's say, 500, if you have a cutoff mark above 500, you'll be invited to apply. Now, when you are now invited to apply, you now go into the stage of completing your profile. Okay, so let me repeat that again. You create your profile online. You are assessed against 3 minimum criteria, which is your skilled work experience, your language ability, and your what? Education. Apart from these three, they will also verify you or they will also assess you against other 6 selection factors where we talked about data admissibility, age, and things like that. And they will score you out of 100. Okay. If you score more than 67, from 67 and above, you'll be moved into the express entry pool where other candidates are. And in that pool, they will use a different selection factor to rate you out of a 1,200 points. Then they will, from that pool, bring in bring out people, issue them invitation to apply. And once you get that invitation to apply, you now get to the point where you say you are trying to complete your profile. I believe you have a clear understanding about all this, right? You now complete your profile. And you have 60 days to complete your profile. Okay. Now, based on the information you enter, IRCC will figure out which program under the express entry you are eligible for and may be invited to do what? Apply. Remember, like I said, you don't get to choose. The three are open, but they will check your credentials and other things, work experience, and they invite you to apply. They might invite you to apply, assuming you've worked in Canada for a year. Maybe you did your postdoc in Canada. That's a work experience. Okay, you might be invited to apply under the Canadian Experience class, which is what I did. Okay, so then after completing your profile, if you're eligible for more than one program, okay, you will be invited for one program in this order. They cannot invite you for two. Okay, you will be invited for one. But but I mean, come on, it doesn't matter how you come in. It doesn't matter the pathway now. A permanent resident is a permanent resident, right? Okay. So they can invite you in this order. First of all, they'll consider you for Canadian experience class. If that didn't work, they will consider you for the second one, Federal Skilled Worker Program, then finally the Federal Skills Trade Program. Okay, so remember, you'll be invited to apply through just one, not two. But this is the order they will invite you, evaluate you, and invite you, I should say. Now, what do you do while in the pool? Please get your documents ready because you have 60 days to apply. And I'll tell you the documents you need to get ready as we move along in this discussion. Okay, so what can you do while in the pool? First thing is to get your documents ready because you simply have 60 days. Then you can also work on your language tests. Check that your language tests are still valid. Remember, you have 2 years validity from the date of the test result. If it's now invalid, you need to take another test. You cannot apply with an invalid or an expired IELTS, for example. Okay, now if you cannot meet up to supply that language test and you are issued an ITA, you can decline that invitation and you simply go back into the pool and be considered in the future. Okay, now another thing you need to get ready is what you call the police certificate. Now remember, the police certificate, you need to get this if you are above 18 years or older. And any country you've lived in the past, I think 10 years, you might be required to get a police certificate from those countries. Some countries, will take as much as, who knows, a long time to get it. So once you're in that pool, please get your police certificate from these countries. Okay. Now, also, what you can do is to try to improve your score because this is a point-based system. Like I said, it is assuming that a draw was conducted this week and the cutoff mark was 500. Now, the cutoff mark might drop if they do another one the week after, but if they stay a long time, those with higher scores will come up. And if they draw 550, then you that is below 500 will not get in. So the scores fluctuate up and down, moves up and down. So while you're still there, you can try to improve your score. How can you improve that score? You can do that by trying to get a job offer, you know, by using the job bank, promoting yourself to employers in Canada. I have a relative of mine, no, my in-law. The guy worked from Nigeria for a company in Canada for over 2 years before he migrated. So it's possible to do it. Advertise yourself in Indeed, in LinkedIn, and other places. You can use this website that I put down here. Okay, contact provinces. Tell them to nominate you for their provincial nominee program. Once they do, you have 600 solid points plus the ones you have already. So any province that nominates you gives you 600 points. You can as well consider improving your language score. Then the fourth point there, which is improving your education, I kind of struck it out because that might be too far fetching. Before you finish your education, um, the whole process is done. So these other ones, you can gain more relevant work experience as well. That to boost your score. Okay, now the link to our video talking about the job bank, how to use it to get a job, how to even create your account and things like that, you will find it up here. Now, it's advisable that you keep your information updated while still in the pool because take for example, um, if you started a new job, you must update it. If you gained or you lost a job offer, you should also update it. Okay, if you have a new language test, you should also update it. If you got married or divorced, maybe when you created your profile, you came in as a single person while still in the pool, you got married, please update it. Some people do not, and later they will add it up. But I mean, if you have the intention of coming in with your spouse, kindly update it and both of you will come in together. You can as well come in as a single person, then later invite your partner over. Is your choice. Okay. Now, if you adopted a child, okay, also add that information to your profile. The thing is this, always keep your information updated. Okay. And remember, never you falsify any information. Okay. If you do that, your application might be refused. You could be found inadmissible, and the worst of all, you could be barred for up to 5 years from coming to Canada. So please keep it clean, as simple as possible. Remember, you have 60 days to submit this application, and if anything happens and you are not invited within 12 months of you being in the pool, or sorry, 12 months of you creating your express entry profile, it will be automatically be, deleted. It will expire in a nutshell after 1 year of creation, and you need to create another one. But usually they finish this thing before the year runs out. Okay. Now, what language requirements do I need as a new immigrant? What language requirements do I need? Now, so if age is not on your side, I'll tell you what to do as we move on. Wait for me. Now, with the new changes to Express Entry scheme, you can now earn 50 additional points if you show that you have strong French language skills. Even if French is not your second language, sorry, even if French is your second language, I should say, even if French is your second language, you can gain extra 50 points. Take, for example, you are from an English speaking country and you studied French. Somewhere, somehow, you can defend yourself actually by showing and writing that French test. Please go and do it, especially if age is not on your side. These 50 additional points can help you because the older you get, the lower your points drop. Remember, age is a factor. The lower your points drop. But if you gain that 50 points from the French language, it will cover the deficiency you're having in terms of age. Does that make sense? All right, thank you. Now, to measure your language proficiency, like we said before, you either take the English or the French test. Now, for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, like I initially said, your minimum should be CLB 7. If you wrote the French one, it should also be 7 as well. Now, across all the bands, whether it's reading, speaking, listening, and writing, these four bands you must have 7 if you are coming through the Federal Skilled Worker Scheme. Now, if you have a second language, let's say French is your second language, the minimum you are expected to have is 5 points, but it's not compulsory. You can do with only IELTS. But if you want to claim points from your second language as well, the minimum there should be 5 as well. That is for the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Now, for the Canadian Experience class, that is those that have working experience in Canada, at least 1 year working experience in Canada. What are you looking at? You still need to take the language test. Unfortunately, so I also took it, though I had that 1 year working experience when I applied, but I had to take my IELTS as well. Now, if your NOC is 0 or 1, your CLB is expected to be 7. But if your NOC is 2 or 3, CLB 5 is sufficient. Okay. For the federal skilled trades, remember the plumber, the contractors, electricians, and things like that. Your English language, in terms of speaking and listening, you're expected to have a 5. In terms of reading and writing, you're expected to have a 4. So because you communicate more, you interact with people more than you write, so they can close one eye when you have CLB of 4 in writing and in reading, but in speaking at least 5 because you need to interact with people. Okay, so it's been a long while, but I promise you that the next few slides will kind of tax your brain a lot, as there are lots of numbers involved in the next discussion we are going to have. But I'll try and simplify it as much as possible. Okay? All right. I'll see you in the next one.